you swap these out? You're live.
Okay, welcome to the Town of Hollis Finance Committee meeting, Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. We will start with a roll call. Janet?
Janet Gilmore, Shelley Brooks.
And Joe Ponzetti. The three of us do make up a quorum, so I'll call the meeting to order. First item on our agenda is to review and accept the minutes of our last meeting last week. We have the meeting minutes, and we also have a draft and a draft amendment, and the amendment was to include the purchase order, or the ability to do a purchase order if needed, for $50,000 for salt out of the $200,000 contingency budget that the town has, and that was approved, and that was added to our meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
A motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor? The first budget item that we'll be reviewing this evening is the retirement budget for the town of Hollis. Dick, are you going to present that?
Yes, sir. To the best I can only tell you that this is a product of the payroll wage items and the applicable. I worked with our treasurer, pulling last year's numbers and the number of people and the dollars spent, and applied those same numbers to this year's wages with adjustments as needed. I frankly didn't bring along all of the worksheets because they actually have more scribbles and marks and arrows and so forth associated. But this is relative to this year's payroll and the number of people who are enrolled in the varying levels of coverage. Pardon me, this is PERS, so it's all coverage.
Dick, do we have any, I know that we have increased at least one person, our maintenance person, from part-time to full-time. Do we have any other added personnel or employees?
We had a small adjustment. The road commissioner, thank you very much for bringing that up. His benefits were in his budget. I pulled them out of his budget, moved them into the clustered of everybody else. So his have been lowered and these have been adjusted, plus the change in the maintenance facilities individual.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any further questions to the presenter? Can I have a motion to accept the PERS retirement budget?
I make a motion to accept the main PERS budget. I'll second.
All in favor? Oh, do we have any further discussion? I think we pretty much understand that. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The second budget item is the insurance budget item. Dick, I guess you can run us through this and also address your notes that you have on the bottom of the budget.
Yeah, same situation here. Each individual signs up for the coverage that they require. We went through last year's coverage and applied this year's adjustments to the premiums to draw these totals that you see. There was, from memory, health was up 9-something%. I think dental or one of the others was 4-point-something or 5%. So we made those appropriate adjustments. Diana and I worked together on this last week, and the results you have are a result of, again, enrollments under the current status of our employees and under the current premium rate that is applicable to this year or to the next year. We actually had to divide that in two. Some of that is current rate and some of it then adjusts into the next fiscal year.
Okay,
Sorry, I can't be more specific in that regard, but it really was a two-headed process.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and you made a note here that we have 22 people that are currently eligible for the dental health and the life insurance and the HRA. The HRA is, what exactly is that, Dick?
I knew you were going to ask me that. That is coverage the town pays for deductions, I believe, when somebody applies for a medical insurance coverage. There's a deductible amount. The town has been paying that. I believe that's what that is. Pre-funding, right? Oh, I'm not into it. Okay.
At some point, maybe you can just send a note out to the committee what the HRA references.
It's a health reimbursement account. That's what
Right.
it's what he said it is.
Exactly
It's,
that.
Yeah.
So it is a health
it covers
reimbursement
the
account.
deductible.
Okay. so
Deductible for individuals, they are paid by the town, and this is an accumulation of funds in anticipation of that.
So I understand. So it is a reimbursement account for their deductible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Okay, we have any other questions for Dick? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the insurance budget?
I'll make a motion to accept the insurance budget.
A second.
And do we have any further discussion? I'll just note that the workman's comp is one of the contributing factors that seems to have increased quite a bit. I mean, it's not something that we can control. It's unfortunate that it's the way the market is, and that's, it's just a product of inflation with all these, a lot of these items that we really can't control. But the total budget was an increase of 5.5%, which I think is probably pretty reasonable given the times. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor of accepting the insurance budget, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. FICA compensation. This is what do you really want to, how do you want to approach this, Dick? What do you want to,
Well, that's
this is just a
product
breakdown.
of, I brought it back to you because it's a product of a number of things being misplaced or not accounted for. And what I have done is again, thank you very much, Shelley, for bringing the attention of failing to pull Rob's specifics out of his road commissioner account and putting it in with the rest of the benefits. That's one. And secondly, we had a payroll item that was voted upon after the budget was passed. You folks approved it, but it was applied in memo form, and I didn't have the memo when I did the first round of numbers. So what I have done is taken all of those two changes specifically and realigned them. You'll find the reconciliation page now matches what the FICA page represents for costs based on wages per department. The micro print, I apologize for the size, but it would have been multiple pages. And it details wages in total, including those that were not accounted for previously, and FICA expense, Social Security and Medicare, under the current rates by department, and then family medical leave fees, which are 1% of the payroll in total.
So this is really just an extension of the FICA budget that we're looking at with total wages. Or is this actually a breakdown including more than FICA?
Which page are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at the breakdown with the tiny writing, and then I'm looking at the overall budget. And you You're telling me they match up with the breakdown?
Yes, they do. On the right-hand side, at the very bottom of the page, you'll see the Social Security, Medicare,
Oh, I see it,
and
yeah,
Family Medical equaling
Okay.
210,993.
right. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty tiny writing. But I do see it.
You will see a discrepancy of about $2,000 in the budget from 25 to 26, and candidly, I didn't want to dig for $2,000. It didn't apply to this year's budget numbers.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for that breakdown. It's by department, that's pretty revealing. As we know, there are certain departments have the biggest payrolls, and that being fire and rescue and parks and recreation. Those are in administration. Those are really the three big payroll numbers on our breakdown. All right, is there any further questions for Dick on the FICA budget? Do I have a motion to accept the budget?
I make a motion to accept the FICA budget.
Okay.
Second?
Any discussion? No further discussion. I'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The next on our list is operation and maintenance. Dick, you made some notes on this.
We did make some changes, pardon me. One of the changes is the wages that I mentioned earlier, and you saw the memo that was issued after the approval and the subsequent approval of additional funds for the facilities maintenance individual. I was so anxious to make sure the payroll system was paid for. I paid for it twice, so I took that one out of this budget. We have water issues, as you're aware, and the testing of that, the water system is noted under sub-account 126 well, and that is in addition to the numbers that I gave you previously. It's about $500 a month. And then we had accounted for, after taking out the payroll system, which was $20,000, the concept of the shed building for the snow blower and a potential tractor are added back in as well. It kind of offsets the 20 that was taken out. So these numbers now reflect as accurate as we could possibly be with some of the variables that existed prior to this past week.
The biggest item that catches my eye is the electric, and I know you briefly described some of what the added electrical cost is. Maybe you can explain that a little bit for the committee.
Mary, you want to?
Or,
No. All right. As far as I can tell, this building is twice plus what we had previously, and we underestimated the costs of operation of the air and heat system, some of which is electricity, the lights that are on, lighting much more of a building than previously. And our year-to-date, since moving, demonstrates a need to have that increase, which we have.
right. I just think that, last year, obviously, we didn't know where we were going with this, so it really wasn't taken into consideration.
No,
And we are way under budgeted in that category for
that's
the
correct.
previous building versus the building we have today.
That's correct.
So I think that is, that explanation is certainly makes that clear as to why that's the increase. That was the only one that I thought possibly, the public might want some clarification on, and that is the reason. Do we have any other questions for Dick on this budget item? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the operations and maintenance budget?
I make a motion to accept the operations and maintenance budget.
Second?
Any further discussion? No further discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Road Commissioner budget. Dick, you want to just? bring
Well,
us
you
through-
saw
through
this
that?
before, and all this
Yep.
is reflecting that we removed the retirement, Social Security, the family medical leave from this particular account and moved it into the collective one that we approved, you approved most recently. And that we also added, excuse me, $500 for the cost of the cell phone that's issued to the commissioner in conducting his business, so he's not on his personal phone.
Yep, okay, well, that certainly clears it up. We put that in the correct category. So I think this is nice and clean.
I have a question. So like the 1% for the 520, isn't that the FMLA?
Family medical leave.
Yeah, so that shouldn't be on here? Shouldn't that be on another worksheet?
It's on the other work.
Okay, but it's on this one too.
Oh,
So
I
if you
gave
just
you
took
the wrong
that off,
one.
then the cost of the
Yep,
cell phone, it's
yep.
like moot, right?
Janet, where is that?
Yep,
What item
thanks.
is that?
It's the
thank you.
027 line, it's the 1% that's on there, that shouldn't be there.
Yep.
Oh, I follow you, yes. Above the cell phone,
This, yeah, right above the cell phone.
yeah, so that's that 1%. Yeah, okay, very good catch. So that would be removed, Dick? And recategorized?
It will, and I actually thought I did, but apparently,
Stayed on there.
yeah.
Yeah, can I make a question?
Yeah, sure.
Joe? I remember last year, this budget was really quickly whipped together, and I'm just wondering how, like, this doesn't have any of the expended wages for Rob this year, and I know that the amounts were just kind of a shot in the dark on what people thought it might be, and if there's been any more thoughts about, I just want to see if it's on track on what.
My understanding, he has not worked the 24, I think it is, hours. He's actually under that, but we're only halfway through the year, and he has a pretty rigorous schedule ahead of in the spring with crack sealing and all of the other activities on the roads. So he's not sure he's going to use the full 24 times 52, but I'd rather be safe than sorry and have to cut him off.
I believe, Dan, that this is an elected position with a fixed.
So my understanding was that we had told him 20 hours, right?
Uh,
So I think 20 hours, and last time I talked to him, which was right at the middle of January, he was tracking, and he was about at 24, and he said he thought that would even out to about 20 by the end of the year.
Are we talking about the wages?
Because a lot of that was all those snowstorms when he was out so much. So,
Sorry, I said it backwards.
yeah, but he was happy with where he was and figured that it would even out by the end of the year.
But I'm a little confused, that's an elected position with a fixed wage rate, isn't it?
He's not elected.
Road commissioner?
Well, it's a salaried position. We made it a 20-hour salaried position.
So it's a salary position, it's not, oh, I thought it was a fixed contract rate. Okay, so I mean, it is already established, his rate is already established.
Right, but we didn't have a clue how many hours he was going to work at that rate.
And
So
then
we
it's a
had
matter of-
decided at 20, and then said that we would readjust it as needed towards the end of the year. And like I said, he said it was about 24, and he figured it was going to even out
Yeah,
to about 20 by the end of the year.
okay, I follow that. Dan, does that answer your question? All right, do we have any further questions for Dick on this budget item? Do we have a motion to accept the road commissioner budget as it's presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the road commissioner budget.
I am second.
And any further discussion? So we are making a motion to accept the budget. You're going to modify that 520 for that 1%?
We'll remove that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I swear I
The
did.
next item
Don't know
that
where
we,
it came in. I
we
swear I
have,
took the 520 off. I know I did, but I don't know where it went.
yeah, somewhere in there, somewhere in that computer. So Dick gave us two more budgets for this evening. They're not on the agenda, but we will certainly consider them. The next budget we'll be reviewing is for the elections. It's the election budget.
So they really go together. We needed to enhance our legal budget, and so we took funds from the election after talking over the number of hours elected election employees actually put in. We showed some leverage in there, some latitude that we could move without harming the election for the coming year. And essentially then move those funds to legal because we have what may be a little more attention needed to be paid to some of the activities surrounding the dams and the removal and decommissioning. And we didn't want to come up short and not be able to defend the town's position.
And you feel comfortable that you can take that 7,000 out of the election budget, obviously, or you wouldn't have done it.
The election budget usually has a carry forward of anywhere between 12,000 and 26,000, so we felt like we could take 7.
Right.
Good. All right, so that being said, do we have any further questions for Dick on the election budget?
Nope, I'll make a motion to approve the election budget.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So we have reduced the election budget by 7,000, and we are applying that to the budget for legal, because we think we may incur a little more legal expense than anticipated. The last budget item we're looking at this evening is the legal budget item. Is the legal budget. And Dick, you want to just quickly bring us through this budget you proposed?
Well, the legal budget is the funding, say that backwards. The election budget is increasing the funding for the legal budget because we have a fairly aggressive debate going on with the decommissioning team and the folks who are being a little bit more resistant than they may have been. So we're going to be needing more attention from our lawyer to represent our interests in that effort. It may not be used, but I have an idea that it will be, unfortunately. The additional funds is what I'm referring to.
So under administration, where we have that big increase of 11,000, that's where that's showing up?
Yep.
Dick, that added 7,000?
Yep. The offset is only 7, but we raised it 11.
Yeah, I see. So the offset's 7, but the total budget proposed is 18,000,
Right,
right?
up 11.
So, and that, part of that's coming out of the election budget.
Yes.
Okay, any further questions for Dick?
So if I add up the difference, I come up to 17, but 45,000 minus 31.5 is not 17.
Not 7, no? I will make that adjustment, thank you.
So Jen, you want to say that again, please?
Well, so if you total up the budget from 25, 26 to,
Yes.
it's 31.5.
Yeah,
And if I'm, oh, so you've got your total at 35, Dick, at the top, but
Yep,
at 40,
yep.
you've got 45 at the bottom. So the math doesn't make sense between the 31.5 and the 45,000. It's
Yes.
13,500. But if you total
Right.
up the difference column, it's 17,000.
That's a product of the bottom being a sum of and the upper one being entered.
Right.
yeah. Yeah, we've had that problem on a couple of these that had to get corrected. So is the correct number 35 or is the correct number 45? Janet,
I don't know, I have to add it all up.
okay.
The real total is 45, but,
Okay.
so, if I'm not adding, oh, okay, so I'm right, I think I'm good now. So it should be 45 at the top.
Yeah.
It should be 45 at
Yep.
the top.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to check that or you also?
No, I was adding a number that I shouldn't have been adding into my total on the difference
So the
line.
appropriation on the top is 45.
Yep.
I checked it, it's right.
Thank you. Very good, okay. Do we have a motion to accept the budget for 45,000 for legal?
I make a motion to accept the 45,000 for legal.
Second?
Any further discussion? Dick, so you'll just make those adjustments and what we are approving is the 45,000 for legal.
Absolutely.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I don't believe we have anybody here from pickleball, do we? Or on Zoom or anything?
You know, if I may, I did meet briefly with the rec department this morning. The folks that they've asked for quotes from have not provided everything that's needed, so it's on hold. If by chance things happen in the next week or two, we'll bring it back to your attention and see what they have to offer, but at this point, they don't have the information necessary to do what you need to consider.
Okay. That being said, public comment, there's nobody here. Oh, here we go. Mary's going to be the public commenter.
So with this year's, and I'm going to have Dick help me with this, with the operations and maintenance budget for this year, for 25-26, we appropriated $134,280. As of the end of February, we have used 97% of that budget. So I'm really concerned that we're not going to be, so that's 2/3 of the budget. So I think that we need to take some money out of that 200,000 that we have to cover that deficit. Some of it is that the carry forwards haven't carried forward. We had had meetings and allocated additional funds to cover the maintenance increase from 25 to 40 hours. We don't think that's been done, but I don't feel comfortable leaving us with 3% to get through the rest of the year. So, as you remember, we have $200,000. We used $85,000 for salt, not sand, but salt. So that leaves us with $115,000. We also have a problem because we're down to about $4,000 for legal right now. We had transferred $12,000 from the legal from last year to go forward to the Bar Mills legal team, and I don't think that's been transferred. So we'd like to use $15,000 of the $115,000 left for legal and for the Bar Mills legal team. And Dick and I were going to look at it, and we think we're probably going to want to transfer about $60,000 into the operating and maintenance account out of the remaining $100,000. So that would leave us with about $40,000. A lot of it was that our electricity costs were a lot more than we thought they were going to be, or that was budgeted. The propane costs have been a lot more, so those are the big items that really blew that budget, and just all the little things that didn't get transferred into the proper accounts. So we'll be bringing that up at the select board meeting next week to see if we can get a unanimous vote to transfer that money so that we cover ourselves, with the understanding that if those funds get transferred like they're supposed to, and we have excess, we can put it back in the general fund. But I don't feel comfortable not having money to spend.
Okay, so if I understand that correctly, Mary, what we're doing is, you have the select board has a discretionary account of $200,000. Out of that $200,000, you have $115,000 remaining to date.
Yes, ma'am.
You're looking for $15,000 for legal, $60,000 for operations, $75,000 in total to be allocated out of the remaining discretionary funds of $115,000. That will leave you $40,000 in your discretionary account
Through
for
till
now-
July 1st, yeah.
From now to June, the end of June, until we have elections.
Right.
a new- So how do you feel about having $40,000 left? I mean, really don't have any choice. That's,
No, I mean, we have
The
to
balance.
pay our bills and, you know,
so I think you just have to make sure that the select board understands that their $200,000 discretionary fund is now $40,000.
right.
And that's all you have to work with between now and the end of June.
And then I think that I'm going to ask the select board to also look at the administration account. I know y'all already approved it, and operations and maintenance, to make sure that I haven't missed a number or something, you know, so we don't need more money in those budgets for next year. Just to make sure, I mean, I've pulled all the sheets and I think we're okay, but I just want to make sure.
Well, obviously the big one was for the salt appropriation.
Because the electrical costs so far have been like $17,000 for this year so far for electricity, and we only allocated $8,000. And propane has been 7,000 something, and we only allocated 3,500, so.
Yeah, well, I think that unfortunately, when we put the budget together last year, we
Yeah,
didn't think
yeah.
about the fact that we were going to have a,
But I
a
would
new
just feel
building
more
with twice the
comfortable
expenses.
if we do get your approval to move that money, so that, you know, and then, like I said, we can always put it back in the general fund if we don't use it, or if all of a sudden everything, the carry forwards and the money that we had voted on allocating for, like Al's increase in salary from 25 to 40 is put back in the account. So I'd like to ask for your vote, because we don't know if we're going to be, if you all are going to be meeting again after next week, and we don't meet till next Wednesday.
sure. So what you're asking us is for us to vote to allow the select board to take $75,000 out, in addition to what you've already taken out of the $200,000 discretionary fund. Okay, well,
Is that right, Dick?
I think that's it. Okay, can I have a motion to take $75,000 out of the the $200,000 discretionary fund for the select board's appropriation?
I make a motion to move 75,000 from the 200,000 discretionary account.
Thank you. Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Well, just be frugal, that's all I can say. Turn all the lights off. Okay. Thank you, Mary. You need to keep the place operating. The next meeting is planned for next week, the 17th. And I believe that will probably be the last budget meeting for this round. We probably have a few cleanup items on that, but I think the main one will be the school budget. So that probably pretty much will wrap it up, don't you think, Dick?
Yeah, well, as I said, I've put a request out to everybody for their estimates of revenue and how that will be offset. You also have the tally based on the most recent numbers. I don't know if it's premature to say so, but we're sitting at about an 8% bump if everything comes together, but that doesn't take into account what the potential increase in revenue might be. I know that I spent a few minutes at the end of the day with the tax collector, and her comment was, "I've never seen so many new cars in such a short period of time as I did today." If that's indicative of what the future may be, then we may be looking at a decent revenue stream that will offset any increases or a good deal of the increases that presented here.
Will we have that information for next week?
I hope to.
Yeah, that would be helpful. What Dick is referring to is the fact that excise tax that the town collects is income for the town. And if that's true that there are a lot of people in town buying brand new expensive cars, that budget number, that income side of the ledger should have increased. So maybe it'll help offset part of that 8%. Right. But all in all, I think we're doing fairly well. We can kind of get a better picture next week if we see the revenue and the balance against expenses, but that would be a great way to end this fiscal budget meeting year.
I'm wondering if it makes sense, if we don't have revenue numbers, to push that meeting a week if there is time. I don't know.
I would like to.
Okay. Because, I mean, if we only have one thing to approve, it might make sense to move it when there's four.
I'd be happy to do that. I really don't want to go beyond this month because, April 1st is always the date we shoot for to have this thing wrapped up. But as long as we really do, the only thing that would probably prevent us from meeting at the end of the month would be if we don't have a quorum or if we have a storm. And hopefully neither one of those two things would happen. But it would be productive, Shelley, if we could have all that stuff and kind of wrap it up. So why don't we play that by ear? Then Dick will, rather than set that next week in the 17th in stone, why don't we see where you progress with your budgets and perhaps we can wrap that up. The other thing is that we haven't really done religiously is quarterly committee meetings for the Finance Committee to evaluate the ongoing budget. And I don't know that we need to do one in April, but we probably should give that some thought for next week when we do meet again. And perhaps in June, and then sometime for, in the next do the last 3 quarters so that we can kind of get a handle of whether or not we're on track or not. And it is in the ordinance that we do quarterly reviews. So why don't we think about that for our
So
next
you'd
meeting.
be reviewing the 20, we'd have actual dollars that we've spent so far,
Right.
because right now we don't know what those are.
No, we don't. And that's, that's something we'll fix over this next
So when
this
we
coming
meet in
year.
June, it'll be almost a full year. So we'll have the full year.
Yeah, we'll have
Okay.
that.
All right.
I don't think this makes any sense to do it in April.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I think if we did it, quarterly after that, it would probably be very helpful.
Okay.
So we can give that some thought, and we can talk about it when we meet again. All right.
So I assure you, this will not look the same next year when we look at these accounts. I'm meeting at the end of the week with our auditor, and I'm going to collaborate with him at maybe a redesign of how these numbers are presented. For example, I know, Joe, you've asked a number of times that we look at wages and then all of the benefits and additional costs are sitting off in another place, and we can't put the two together to see what the true cost of carrying our business model the way we do without some work. And I'd like to present that in the future as readily recognizable and readily understandable as a composite cost, so that we're not fooled into thinking that a 3% increase in salaries is really just a 3% increase. As we can see, it's not. We did have other expense increases, but we got whacked a little bit harder than we planned on some of the insurances, certain insurance costs, and some unexpected costs, of course, in this building. So I hope to have some good news for you as we move forward, as opposed to more confusion than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful, Dick, but I would also like to thank you for stepping into something that was pretty hard and arduous in order to pull it together in a short period of time with these these budgets, with a transition of going from the 3-member select board to a 5-member select board with a town manager. And then all of a sudden, within a couple of months, you're presented with a new role of trying to figure out how you're going to develop budgets and what the budgets are going to look like. And that was a pretty big task. And I think that, working together and pulling it from different directions, that we were able to put together something that made a lot of sense and that we could evaluate. And a lot of that is to your credit for being able to pull that together. So I appreciate the effort.
Thank you very much. I'm going to be delighted to be able to sleep a full night going forward.
It must have been, I'm sure it was some very restless evenings trying to pull that stuff together. So
My dog's going to like it too.
thank you for all the hard work of trying to get that budget the first time around in a difficult situation. And next year, I'm sure we'll have it fine-tuned, and it'll be from there, going forward from there, it'll be a heck of a lot easier. So, good. And the board, thank you so much for your help. Next week, we'll hopefully wrap it up for our committee, and we'll be all set for a while. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
So Shelley, you gonna go back tonight?
Huh?
Do you have to go back tonight, or are you going?
No, she's going to go.